No, you don't need to stand up. But welcome to the Rotary Club of Seattle, where we're working to build healthy communities. My name is Jan Levy, and I've got 2 more months that you have to put up with me as your president. As we begin our program today, will you please review and reflect for just a minute on the land acknowledgement that is up on the screen, please? Seems particularly pertinent when so many people are being displaced. Before we get to the music, we have some very special guests with us today I want to give a shout out to. And that is some of our University of Washington business mentees, plus Barton DeLacy and Paul Sy, who chair the Business Mentors Committee. Will you all stand so that we can welcome you? We're so glad you're here with us. Thanks for being here. It's my pleasure now to invite Don Murphy and let's see, who else? Freeman, are you there? And I can't see who that is. And Rick Russell, sorry, that wasn't in my notes for our song today. Would you all please rise and sing along?
Rick is a guest of Linda Ruff's. We're going to sing "What a Wonderful World," and just to introduce it, as you may know, Louis Armstrong was one of the top singers, not just trumpeters, singers during the 30s in the U.S., which blew me away that with all the others that he would be a top singer. This song didn't come out until 1967, but ABC, it was the year that I was drafted. And many of you know 1967 from your history. ABC didn't think this song was appropriate. So it kind of laid around for a while. And then Good Morning Vietnam came out. And all of a sudden, this became the song that it is today. Let us sing together. Here we go. I see leaves of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and birds of white, the bright blessed day, dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands. How do you do? Every say, I love you. I hear bees cry. I watch them grow. They'll. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Repeats here. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, and also on the faces of people walking by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Thank you.
Thank you, Don, Rick, Freeman. I also want to thank Cynthia Chereau and Tracy Brown for being our greeters today, and to Pete Delaney for our meeting reporting. I believe we have some guests and visiting Rotarians with us today. If you are a guest visiting with us today, please stand so we can recognize you. And UW mentees, you can stand a second time. So today we are kicking off the final element in our healthy community model, which is protecting and stewarding the natural environment. When you read the definition, green spaces, clean water, clean air, soil, biodiversity, it all sounds like a nice, calm way to be in the world, very peaceful. But when I think of the environment, I also think of two other words: climate change. Now, I don't know about you, but that's where my confidence starts to slip a little bit. I mean, I do try. I recycle. I compost, at least I think I'm composting correctly. There's always that moment, you know, when you're staring at something and you're thinking, is that compost? Is it recycling? Or am I about to commit an environmental crime? I drive less, I use fewer plastic bags, and yet, and still, it feels like I'm throwing a small cup of water at a very large wildfire. It's easy for me to think like the problem is just too big. But healthy communities are not built by people who have all the answers. They're built by people who choose to engage anyway and who find creative ways to bring others along. And that's exactly what today's speaker is doing. Keith Tucker, founder of Hip Hop is Green, has taken what can feel overwhelming and turned it into something engaging, accessible, and even inspiring, especially for the next generation. Because let's be honest, most of us are not going to reach young people with a lecture about soil quality. But music, culture, community, that's a different story. Through his work, Keith is connecting environmental stewardship to everyday life through wellness initiatives, plant-based community dinners, youth empowerment, and climate innovation rooted in urban communities. So if you're like me, someone who cares, tries, and occasionally feels a bit overwhelmed, this is our chance to hear about a fresh approach. One that replaces guilt with energy and complexity with connection. And frankly, it's way cooler than standing over a recycling bin second guessing yourself. Keith's bio, I believe, is on your tables. Please join me in giving a warm Seattle for a welcome to Keith Tucker.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me today. I really am excited to speak with everyone today. I have like 42 slides to go through really quick. So I'm going to make sure that I cover some of these important areas that we are going to speak on today. And hopefully we'll get everything going without a glitch. Oh, I hear it vibrating. There we are. Let's go the other way. And let's see here. Nope. And yeah. All right. So our organization, like Jan said, is called Hip Hop is Green. We're the first environmental plant-based organization in history. We started in 2009, and I'll go over a little bit about what the organization is. But the first thing I wanted to put on the screen is the planet. And what a wonderful world. Thank you for playing that song. It goes right into the amazing things that we're doing and also some of the stark things that are happening to our planet right now that I have to share with you. I was really emotional when I was listening to the song because of some of the things that are happening to our environment. And I want to share them to you first before I start the presentation. Um, Today, every system that supports life on Earth is in jeopardy. And when I say jeopardy, we mean really serious peril. We're talking about this graph right here, and these are the 9 planetary boundaries. Have you guys raised your hand if you've seen this graph before? Okay, we have a couple people, maybe 3 or 4. Everyone in here should know about these boundaries and what they are and how they function, how our planet works. This is what we teach the kids in our course. Just wanted to let you know real quickly, we just passed the boundary of ocean acidification. So we have passed 7 of the 9 boundaries that support life on Earth right now. We're past the point of not being in peril. We're sliding down the mountain right now. This is what we're talking about: the soil, the ice caps, the oceans, the forest, the air, food, plants, animals, and people. This is what we're talking about when that graph encapsulates all of that. By 2048, scientists say that we will have completely fishless oceans. 70% of the big fish in the ocean are gone already. Just to let you know a little bit about that. 1 out of 3 bites of food depends on bees, and 40 to 50% of the bees populations are gone already. And if you've seen recently in the news, we have 19 whales that just showed up on the shore. A few years ago, 1 billion crab disappeared. These are things that are happening, and it's not by coincidence. Also, too, the question is, and that put in my head is, who is training young people on climate change? Who's doing it? Our schools aren't doing it. So this is what our purpose is: to provide arts and cultural and environmental curriculum based on health and wellness to empower community leadership, environmental stewardship, and conservation. Our mission is to move our culture of hip hop towards environmentalism and sustainability. And just to let you know, hip hop culture is the biggest culture on planet Earth. It's in every continent around the world. Hip hop is not rap music. Okay, hip hop has 10 different elements in the culture. So just to let you know, if you want to reach youth, you have to teach and talk the way that they do, and that's what we do at our program. We've been doing this stuff for 17 years. Like I said, we're the first plant-based organization to do it. We've established our curriculum. We have a farm on Cherry Street. It's called Cherry Street Farm, where we teach hydroponics. We actually have the first hydroponic lab of its kind in Seattle, where we grow 2.5 acres of food, and we teach science, technology, engineering, and math in the lab. We raised over $3 million over the last few years, and I like to say we're debt-free as well. So thank you very much for that one. And we built partnership with many key organizations around Washington State. We started our organization, though, doing what we call hip hop green dinners, where we serve plant-based meals to youth and families all around the nation. We served 40,000 free meals. We performed at the White House. We're our climate change makers. Here's a quick video. Maybe it will play, maybe it won't. I don't know. Here we go.
Olympia is giving these students a firsthand look at how trees are grown to restore forests and provide benefits like cleaner air.
And they're learning how trees are farmed, how they're raised, how they collect the seeds.
Keith Tucker is with Hip Hop is Green, a group working with teens to combat climate change. They made this trip with the work of Washington Department of Natural Resources Youth Education and Outreach Program.
The value in getting kids out and learning about these opportunities is creating the next generation of climate change leaders.
It was launched to target critical workforce shortages and show local students how they can make a living stewarding the outdoors.
Forestry in particular and natural resource management more broadly, and recognizing the need to do a better job of communicating with youth about those opportunities so that they can consider that early in their pathway.
Right now, the program is coordinating field trips like this one, getting outdoors equipment for educators, and connecting teachers with experts in fields like forestry, aquaculture, and geology to help students pursue careers in fields they may not have considered.
They could be stewards of the environment, doing something that they love, and making a great earning and living as well, too. So it's the best of both worlds.
The agency is hoping lawmakers will provide funding so they can expand their work and help more students grow their careers. From Olympia, Erica Zucco, King 5 News.
All right. Shout out to King 5 News too. Glenn Farley, who retired from King 5 News, I got in contact with him because he did a documentary on the wildfires that we have. And I thought that was really interesting. And so he connected me with the Department of Natural Resources several years ago. And we've been working in conjunction with them for about 5 years now, along with many other organizations like the Washington State Forestry Department, the University of Washington, and many other organizations that we work with. Talking about our initiatives, just go over it. We have a youth excellence program, which is a 10-week program where we go in depth about climate change and teach young people about how the planet works. They graduate from our program. Some of our kids have gone on to college. One of our kids just graduated from the University of Washington with a marine biology degree. This is what we're doing. We're making the next generation of climate change makers, geologists, ecologists, environmentalists. This is what our program's about. Cherry Street Farm, like I said, is our first hydroponic lab in the Northwest. These are some of our partners that we have partnered with. We do field trips, hands-on field trips, so young people can actually see themselves and they can actually do the work. Instead of just hearing about it, they're actually doing it. We have a 10,000 tree program, and I like to say we planted over 5,000 trees with our program as well. So we planted a whole forest, and we're continuing our program. So these are some of the programs that I just talked about, where we plant trees and we go out into the forest. We do marine biology, we do soil testing, all different kind of things around preserving the climate and the planet. This is what our youth are based in. They're 11 through 20. They go through our program. They actually get paid in our program. We give them a stipend. They have to interview for our program. Some of them, this is their very first job, so we actually put them through an interview process, and so they learn how to do that. So it's called the Youth Excellence Program for a reason. Like I said, we're doing forestry, we're doing animal rights. We're partnering with Posados, which is one of the biggest animal rights organizations in the Northwest. We've been partnered with them for many years. We have the distinction of bringing more kids to Posados than any other organization in the Northwest. Marine biology, we're partnered with the School of Oceanography. That young lady there in the green is Mia, and she's the one that went to the marine biology department in our program. She ended up studying in that exact department and graduating with a master's in marine biology. Oliver, raise your hand. That's Oliver. He went through our Youth Excellence program, and he's our cameraman today, but he went through the program with Mia. Yeah. We do sustainable engineering too. We're partnered with the engineers at the University of Washington too. So we do all kind of stuff when it comes to sustainable buildings, sustainable materials, all that stuff. And this is pictures of us doing farming as well. We do plant-based cooking, and there's some of us doing trees. I'm going real fast because I know I don't have that much time. Where's the guy? Do I have so much time? Oh. Okay, good. All right. So this is something that is very personal to me. Cherry Street is where I grew up. I grew up on 19th and Cherry. I'm from Seattle. And my grandfather in the 60s purchased some land in the city. And on this land that he purchased, I created a farm. And we were growing regular pea patch gardens and teaching kids how to grow food. And they didn't even know what, the farming equipment was. They never had pushed a wheelbarrow. I mean, I couldn't believe it, right? I grew up farming all my life and gardening with my grandmother on her lawn and stuff. And so I just knew how to do it. And I didn't know this generation was so disconnected from the environment. And so that's what we do at Cherry Street Farm. But when COVID happened, I decided to like pivot and just redo what a urban farm is and try to reassess how we can create urban farms as learning environments and environments that will distribute food to community, thus Cherry Street Farm hydroponics. So this right here is the first ever, where the F is the first ever hydroponic lab of its kind in the Northwest. It's in a big 45-foot container, and it's actually a lab when you go in there. We're having an event coming up on the 16th. I'll invite you guys to come and check out the lab and do a tour. But we grow 2.5 acres of food in this lab. It's amazing. And we also built a kitchen there too. So, you know, we'll teach people how to cook food and right out of our lab. That's what the lab looks like inside. It kind of looks like, you know, the future, which it really is. Yeah, people come out of the lab and they're like, "Wow, have I been transported to another universe or something?" It's amazing in there. These are some of the kids of our program working in the lab with our people that work in the lab. This is another video. I'll play it real quick and see if it works. By the way, hip hop is green. Is to create the next generation of climate change makers. People that live in poor areas and people that are Black and Indigenous are usually facing this stuff first before anyone. We want to protect the future by educating young kids about climate change and so that they can come up with solutions. That's what Hip Hop is Green is all about. Some of the programs that we run at Hip Hop is Green is the Youth Excellence Program. Who's training the kids about climate change? So we actually introduce them to experts in each area of climate change, engineers that are working on solutions to build, oceanographers, people that are working at animal sanctuaries. All of these different modalities of careers and jobs and green pathways, we show them in the second phase of our program.
Today we're here making a vegan meal, mac and cheese, and we learned how to make it and cut up some vegetables. I like how we learn about climate change in ways that we can help combat it, because climate change will affect us in the future no matter what, not depending on the way the adults go, it's going the way the adults are going right now because of the factories, the animals, everything basically.
I really like how we learn something new every single week, and that I'm not only doing it just by myself, but meeting other people like that are my age and like trying new things with them, like trying new food too, as like trying to be vegan and just trying a lot of new stuff here in general.
One of the reasons why we focus on BIPOC young people is because they don't have any options that show them about the environment. And we wanted to be that organization that could show them from people that look like them what the environment is all about. It's so important to teach kids about climate change so that they can maybe have some kind of interest when they grow older. I always say, no matter what you do when you get older and you leave Hip Hop is Green, if you're a janitor, use all sustainable products with your janitorial business. If you're a judge or a politician, pass laws that are good for animals and the environment. And so that's what we always emphasize to young people at Hip Hop is Green, because you never know what a young person is going to do. All right. Cool. So we're having our first planting party at Cherry Street Farm. We're inviting everyone here to enjoy that planting party. Come, we'll give you a tour. You'll get to see the lab, meet some of the kids, and really get involved in it. And I really do want to refocus on what a wonderful world. And some of those statistics that I mentioned, everyone in this room, I urge you to educate yourself, get involved, and make our environment the most important thing in your life. Really, we only have one planet, and if you don't educate yourself on what's going on, we're not gonna make it out of this, guys. And so that's what I really want to leave you with. But I also want to leave you with some hope. The young kids that we work with are so amazing. They're so inspired. They come up with so many ideas, and all they need is an opportunity and also a good program that introduces them to people that are really doing this. And I really want to give a shout out to all the people that in this environment and that are mentoring young kids. And so, yeah, that's my presentation, and I thank you guys. QR code if you want to sign up. I guess I'm staying for some questions.
Hi, Keith, thank you so much for coming. Dorothy Bullitt, that was great. What led you to make the decision to found this organization? What was happening in your life and your previous work? And that's a big deal to launch something brand new.
Yeah, 17 years ago, I was the host of a radio show called The Keith Tucker Show on 1150 AM KKNW. And I came to my bosses and said, I have an idea. I want to interview people in hip hop that are vegan. I'd never heard of that before. That started everything. I was doing research. I went to the Veg Fest for the first time. People know about the Seattle Veg Fest in here? No veggies? Okay. Well, it's one of the biggest festivals for vegans in the country here in Seattle. And I went the first time, and I was walking in there and I saw a sign, and it said almond milk. And I'm looking at the sign and I'm like, how do they get milk from an almond? I was like perplexed. So I went over there, and the lady gave me some almond milk, and I'm like, this is great. I don't even need milk anymore. My mom worked at Carnation Dairy for 25 years, just to let you know. I got free dairy all my life. So I was like, I'm giving up dairy. But one thing led to another. I ended up saying to my bosses, listen, I'm not doing radio anymore. I literally told them I'm not doing radio anymore. I'm going to do a documentary that talks about veganism and hip hop. And that's how it started everything. Yeah. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Shushan. So you mentioned in the beginning that you're national and you talked a lot about local. So I wonder if you could share a little bit about what you're doing outside of Washington.
So right now we're kind of dormant on our national plan. Before COVID, we had chapters in cities all around America. New York, New Jersey, and California, and Kansas City, different places where I was training people on how to do this. But once COVID happened, we pivoted our whole organization and really focused on our curriculum. And so Cherry Street Farm is the model that we've created now. And on June 22nd, our 17th anniversary, we're launching Cherry Street Farm at our grand opening. So our first urban model will be complete. And then our chapters, we're going around to all of those different cities, and we're going to ignite those cities into another whole phase of Hip Hop is Green. Yep.
Super. Thanks for being with us today. You started with some pretty stark, indicators of the situation we find ourselves in. And I totally empathize and appreciate that. But how do you balance that in your work with young people? Because they're at a phase of their life where, you want to be straight with them, but at the same time, you want to leave them with a sense of hope and a sense of ability to make an impact that's meaningful in their lifetime. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that question. Yeah, I thought about that for a long time on how we introduce these topics to kids, and I'm really straight with them. I don't hide anything from them. I want them to understand the gravity of where we're at. And, just me talking here is one thing, but when you actually experience our program, it's another thing. A lot of kids get emotional going through it. We work with them to make sure that we balance that gravity of that situation with hope. We balance it with action. We teach them and show them after that, like, we screen a film like a film might be really, have a lot of sensitive information in it about the fish, maybe the environment, and you never know what's going to grab hold of a young person, And luckily, when we're watching the films, a few days later, we'll go on a field trip to somebody who's actually working in that field so they can see that things are happening and I can make a difference and all of this stuff. So that's how we pair it. We pair the gravity of the situation with somebody that's in the field that's actually doing something for the environment, so that they can see that something is happening and they could be a part of it too.
Hi, I'm Marsha Matisi with the City of Seattle, but also help run the community garden program in Tacoma. So I'd love to connect.
Yeah.
Question is just around the hip hop aspect, because I came in thinking we're gonna see some hip hop music. So, so I know you said it's the culture and that's
Yeah.
how you're connecting with young people. Because I'm thinking for others who might want to be involved and donate, like, oh, we don't know about hip hop. So can you just speak more into how
Yeah.
that's folded into the program?
Yes. Thank you so much for that question. When I first started Hip Hop is Green back in 2009, people were looking at me literally crazy. Like, what does hip hop have to do with veganism? I mean, I don't know what you're doing, but this sounds crazy. I've been involved in hip hop culture ever since hip hop first started back in the 70s. So I am literally, in deep embedded in what the culture has been. There are 10 different elements in the culture of hip hop. Everybody knows DJing and all the entertainment aspect of hip hop culture. And young people actually, have dedicated their life to some of these elements. We have people that are a part of the entrepreneur element that do great things in the community all around the world. We have people that are in the dance community that are doing everything, working in plays and doing things and directing movies and things like that. So, I mean, some of those things you see behind the scenes, but people don't really see it in front of the camera or in front of the mic. The most important thing that I want to let you know is that whenever you see rap music or hip hop, usually it's something negative. Usually it's something that's not good and something that uplifts you now. And I want to let you guys know that that's not a coincidence. You don't see me out there doing what I'm doing, right, for the culture. You don't see all the positive things that are happening in the media and in the news. But trust me, on the streets and in the communities, we're there all around the world doing these positive things. And so, giving an example, we were talking about the song "What a Wonderful World" happening back in 1967, right? Nobody really grasped it, and then the next year, Martin Luther King was assassinated, right? Well, in the civil rights, there was cameras everywhere, right? Covering the civil rights movement, covering wars, covering all these things. Now, those cameras aren't there. Those cameras are pointed in other directions, right? And those cameras are, what are they doing? My grandfather used to say, these TVs are programming us. And that's what they're doing. They're programming us to think of something over here when there's good things that are happening over here. And young people are the first ones that are going through this. They have social media, which is, something that's wrong with their mental health, and all these things. They have a lot of stress that they're dealing with. And so our program is something that helps them deal with that. Going out in nature is one of the best things that you can do for your mental health, and putting your cell phone down. So just to let you know, too, on those elements of hip hop, in 2015, I actually wrote a letter to some of the pioneers and founders in hip hop saying, listen, I think we need to add a new element in the culture of hip hop. And we need to add a 10th element in the culture, and it should be health and wellness. And so they sent me back, we love this, Keith. How can we support you? We did an event on April 21st, 2016, in New York, and about maybe 300 people came, and we signed the 10th element of hip hop proclamation that day, claiming that health and wellness is the 10th element of hip hop. And yeah, thank you. And I'm the creator of it. I'm the creator of the latest element in hip hop. And when one of the people were coming out to receive their award for community service, he actually owns like 5 juice bars in New York. Did you know that rappers own juice bars? Do you know that rappers are vegans? Yeah. So I gave him an award for his juice bars, and he said, Keith, I just want to let you know the 10th element of hip hop should be the first element because this is the most important element. Because if we don't have health and wellness, we don't have anything. And I really believe that. And so we're going to take hip hop culture to places it's never gone before with the 10th element. And all the stuff I just showed you guys is the 10th element in action. So I don't know where she went, but that was your answer.
All right. That's awesome, Keith. We've got time for one more quick question and goes to Tracy.
Hi, Keith. My name is Tracy Brown. I'm also born and raised here in Seattle, and I appreciate your program because it wasn't until I was admitted to Tufts Urban and Environmental Policy Program, the master's program focusing on climate change, that I really understand the impacts to the environment. But one of the areas that we were focusing on while I was there was the how to create the best available technology to decrease greenhouse gases. What we do know was one of the positive things about COVID was there a huge decrease in greenhouse gases during the COVID period. And there were some lessons learned because there was a thought, even if you put trees all over the planet, that somehow that still would not resolve or decrease the greenhouse gases.
Yep.
But that one incident of nature demonstrated that, of course, that could happen. So the question I have for you can kind of give you that long, because I do want to I want to connect with you because this is a passion area. Are any of your students interested in how to sequester those greenhouse gases and what the best available technology might be out there to do that? Because I think that's the sweet spot. If you can get young people who are innovative and creative about how they think about things and approaches, what is that best available and how can technology help sequester those greenhouse gases in the trees that we have?
Yeah. Yes, the answer to your question is yes. So as we partnered with the Department of Natural Resources, Washington State Forestry Department, the Audubon Society, Posados, that was just our first level of partnership that we have cultivated over the last 5-6 years. Our next level of partnership are with those technology companies that you're talking about. And so we have a new project that I'm assembling right now. This is the first time I'm saying it public, so you guys get the first on this. It's called Eco World. And at Eco World, kids will go and they will learn all of that stuff you were just asking from the top professionals around the country with this. So I'm not going to say any more because Eco World is top secret, but it's going to be amazing. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Keith.
Thank you, guys.
Keith Tucker.
Thank you guys so much.
Wait for a second.
Okay, Jim.
Short. Thank you, Keith. As thanks for your participation today, our club's foundation, the Seattle Rotary Service Foundation, has provided 600 servings of healthy produce for those in need to harvest through Harvest Against Hunger in your name.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jan. Thank you. Okay. Take me phone.
And thank you all again for donating to Seattle Rotary Service Foundation so that we can provide this support. At this time, I'm going to invite Charlie Dickey to the podium to introduce new member Tassin Alam, followed by Dorothy Bullitt to introduce new member Emily Yim.
Thank you, President Jen. Tell me more about your parents, I first ask. An ever-revealing inquiry. Tazeen Alam is the son of an investment banker turned botanist father and a Cambridge-Oxford educated turned professional nuclear physicist mother. Born in Bangladesh, but soon after the family was on the global road with mom tending to, shall we say, what mattered most, her particle research projects in Saudi Arabia, Scotland, and Singapore. When she retired in 2010, she founded 4 Bangladeshi schools educating 500 destitute children annually out of poverty and into gainful livelihoods. No wonder her nation asked her in 2015 to serve as its first woman Secretary of Education. Tazeen received a full scholarship to Bates College in Maine, where he earned 3 undergraduate degrees, economics, politics, and theater. Most notably, though, Bates selected him as the student representative on its presidential search committee. Turns out a defining experience. That's because helping appoint new leadership and define strategic direction at Bates lit a match under young Tazeen. After graduating, he found himself at Isaacson Miller, a global organizational consulting firm stationed first at its Boston, then Philadelphia office. A large client was the $300 million Rutgers University Foundation. And there he went for 8 years, becoming the university's vice chancellor for operations and its chief organizational thinker and people person. Then the UW's Foster School got wind of Tazeen's management talents and recruited him as its associate dean of advancement. Recently, Tazeen jumped to the commercial side of the business equation, joining the executive team at Rune Technologies, an intriguing startup, taking aim at the Pentagon's notoriously clunky logistics system. Need 400 Humvee tires? Or 200 pallets of ready-to-eat meals? Skip the spreadsheets to Central Command. Rune's platform handles the who, where, when, and how faster, cheaper, and far more efficiently. Tazeen is on Delta Airlines Marketing Advisory Committee. You see, it discovered his highest premium travel status at competitor American Airlines. Cleverly thought he'd have some fresh ideas. Indeed, enough to help Delta launch its nonstop Seattle to Rome service. Tazeen is multilingual. English, Bengali, and yes, Urdu, Hindi, Arabic, and yes, Hungarian. If that's not enough, Tazeen is also the first Bangladeshi to finish an Ironman triathlon race. A sailor, a rescue diver, a competitive snowboarder retired, a skydiver, a private pilot, a former sous chef for an acclaimed executive chef. Note 2, he's joining the Art Museum of Flight as a trustee. Let's give Tazeen alum, our most multi-talented and newest member, our warmest welcome. President Jen.
That was beautifully done. And a very different introduction. The very first gift Emily Yim received was her name, Young Me, which means gracious and beautiful spirit. She always considered it a blessing that has gently guided her life since her birth in Korea and her life in Seattle after arriving here as a toddler. Her family calls her a miracle. Born unexpectedly 10 years after her twin older brothers and her sister. But the word miracle took on a deeper meaning when she was a freshman at the University of Washington, and her heart stopped. Emily's parents loved her deeply, but their limited English meant they couldn't always understand what was happening or advocate for her. So they stayed beside her, praying and waiting. She flatlined and spent 3 months in the ICU and more than a year recovering. Recovery gave Emily something she didn't have before, clarity. She began to understand that life was not something to drift through. It was something to spend intentionally. Aware that she'd received what the poet Mary Oliver calls her one wild and precious life, she committed to be accountable for that gift. Once back in college, Emily worked full-time at Safeco. When she noticed that her paycheck was signed by Bo Dickey, unrelated to Charlie, alas, it would have been so fitting, someone she'd met while a student at Ingram High School, she emailed him, "Hello, Big Cheese. I got my paycheck and noticed your name on it. I remember you from accounting camp, and I think you should take me out to lunch." He did, and that lunch opened the first of many doors. And many in this room can relate because we have opened many doors as others did for us. Emily went on to serve as the Safeco loaned executive for United Way of King County. And that opportunity led to others, to corporate social responsibility work at Microsoft and JP Morgan Chase, to founding the Department of Neighborhoods and Community Affairs for the city of Linwood, and eventually to her current role as CEO of the Washington Alliance for Better Schools, a consortium serving 300,000 of the state's public school students. Maybe you need to get connected as well. When Emily came across the Sisters of Providence promise, "Know me, care for me, ease my way," she realized that it described her career, which has always involved seeing people, honoring their dignity, and removing barriers so they can move forward. It also describes what she and her husband, Vin Nguyen, strive to do for their son, Carter, now a sophomore at UW, and for Emily's mother, who lives with them in a home filled with the smells of cooking and the sounds of singing amidst their big, loud, embarrassing family. Rotary resonates with Emily because service to her isn't a project. It's part of belonging to a community, making things a little better and a little easier for others. It is my honor to introduce you to Seattle's newest Rotarian, Emily Yim.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Dorothy. At the end of our meeting, Tassine and Emily, if you would stand at the back of the room, you can greet people and they can meet you as they leave. I want to thank REB Enterprises and Carl Benke for their meeting support this year. I also, yeah, you can applaud Carl. He deserves it. He's a huge supporter. I also want to thank Bloodworks Northwest and the Westland Morse Group with Baird Private Management for their sponsorship support. Jevin, do you have some announcements for us?
This is the portion of the program, folks, when it's okay for you to take out your phones because I'm going to go through some announcements about upcoming events. So Wednesday, May 13th, an evening event at Cascade PBS from 5 to 7 p.m. Our final evening event of the 25-26 Rotary year. This will be a special one at Cascade PBS. We're fortunate to be joined by two local Cascade PBS stars. That's Rochelle Bell of the acclaimed show The Nosh and the newsfeed host Paris Jackson. We'll have ample food and libations and are promoting this event to other District 5030 clubs, so expect to meet some other local Rotarians there as well. On May 19th, Rotary Day at UW with the Business Mentors. Thanks again for the students here coming. That's from 4 to 6 p.m. This annual event gives us an opportunity to celebrate the success of students completing their Business Mentors program. Hear from your fellow club members and participants and enjoy a UW catered meal. Please RSVP details on the website, and you can register there for this event. Wednesday, May 20th, lunch back here at the WAC with Julia Carboni, director of the Washington State University Ruckelshaus Center. Dr. Carboni will show us how to dig into problem solving at the local level, hear about the center's work as an impartial resource for state and local solutions in public and private spheres. Thursday, May 21st, our Pinkham and Skeel, Seattle Rotary Service Foundation Major Donors Reception from 5 to 8 p.m. Registration link has been sent out to members donating $1,000 or more to SRSF this year. Please contact Club Director Mary Goldie if you haven't received an invitation or are having issues registering. Or want to donate, yes. Wednesday, May 27th, my birthday. Yeah, put that in your calendars. Yeah. Zoom only meeting with retired philanthropy director Dave Spicer. So as I said, this is our final Zoom meeting of the 25-26 Rotary year. The day is a double header for us because in the evening, you are invited to join Fedva Dickman for another installment of her ethnic dinner series. Yay. So that is, again, May 27th, Fedva's ethnic dinner at Harissa Mediterranean Cuisine. Please RSVP directly to Fedva if you want to attend. Wednesday, June 3rd, lunch meeting back at the WAC here with Curivo Vaccine CEO George Simeon. So June wraps up the 25-26 Rotary year, and it's our Healthy Communities themed month. Join us back here at the WAC on June 3rd. Thursday, June 11th, President's Party at the Queen City Yacht Club from 5 to 8 p.m. Let's send this Rotary year off in style at our annual President's Party back at the Queen City Yacht Club. We will be honoring outgoing club president Jan Levy and outgoing Seattle Rotary Service Foundation president Lillian Sherman, as well as recognized club leaders from throughout the year. Finally, Wednesday, June 17th, lunch meeting here at the WAC with retired head of Starbucks, Howard Behar. So join us before we go on break at our last meeting of this 25-26 Rotary year featuring Howard Behar. The meeting will also feature our passing of the gavel ceremony, ushering in the start of the 26-27 Rotary year under the leadership of incoming club president John Steckler. That's it for me. Back to President Jan.
Thank you, Jevon. As I wrap up today, I found myself thinking about where this idea of environmental stewardship first showed up in my own life. For me, it goes back to when I was a kid. Back in Sunday school, we put coins into these little boxes to support the planting of trees in Israel. I wasn't thinking about climate. I wasn't thinking about ecosystems. It just felt like I was doing something that mattered. And I think that's what stayed with me, because somewhere along the way, the conversation got a lot bigger, a lot more complex, and if we're honest, a little bit overwhelming. But what we heard today from Keith is a reminder that maybe the path forward isn't just thinking bigger, it's about connecting better, meeting people where they are, speaking their language, making it real. And that's what struck me about Keith's work. He's not asking the next generation to care about the environment in the abstract. He's showing them how it connects to their lives, their health, and their future. In doing that, something that can feel very heavy is being turned into something that feels possible. I'll admit my first exposure to hip hop goes back to hearing Rapper's Delight in 1979, and I know he's laughing. Back then, I don't think anyone would have predicted that hip hop would one day be part of conversations about health and wellness and climate change. But maybe that's the point. The solutions don't always look like what you'd expect. Sometimes they come in different voices, and sometimes they reach people we could never, ever reach on our own. So maybe the takeaway for us is this: We don't each have to solve the whole problem, but we do have a role to play, whether it's planting a tree, supporting a program, mentoring a young person, or simply choosing to stay engaged instead of feeling overwhelmed. As the saying goes, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. The question is, what are we giving back? Thank you all for joining us. Next week, I'm looking forward to seeing you at Cascade PBS on Wednesday, and in 2 weeks, back here at the WAC with Julia Carboni, Director of the Ruckelshaus Center at WSU. We are adjourned.